call to order. Tuesday, June 12th, 2012, Transportation Committee meeting to order. We'll let it, Councilman Kluwart's on his way. He's running a little bit late, and Councilman Bryan and Councilwoman Terry are absent. Councilman Chris, would you leave us in the invocation, all about the pledge?
Dear Lord, as we gather here tonight, we just keep in mind Oliver Joseph's son, and we continue to pray for him and his recovery. We also ask that you be with us and help guide us in the decisions that we make on behalf of this parish. And we ask that everything we do in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Anyone wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign in with Ms. Liz. Move on to number 4, Road Department Monthly Report. Mr. Fairchild.
Thank you. Last month our crews worked 118 work orders. We cleaned 16,500 feet of roadside ditches. We vacuumed 2,200 feet of roadside culverts. Our weed control department cut 171 miles of roadside ditches. And we also sprayed 179 miles. Since the first of the year, we had 34 lot violations on recorded subdivisions, and we have 14 that are still pending. That's in between reinspection, and so whether or not they were cut. Any questions? Councilman Lambert, we think we have our work order system districts figured out. In next meeting,
Okay.
we should have it straight.
Thank you, Ryan.
One of our crews had the wrong road listing.
Okay.
That should take care of it next month.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions for Mr. Fairchild? No, we'll move on to number 5, Road Project Status Update. Ben?
All right, on the Roddy Road widening, we have some separate agenda items, but on that subject, we've got an agreement with the City of Gonzales. Their council has passed that agreement. We just need you guys to move it forward to council so we can finalize it. That's for the city to pay their portion of some of the construction activities associated with leaving their water line where it is. And that covers all of the costs associated with that. There's also, we had the bid opening on that project for construction. R.J. Daigle and Sons was the low bidder. That's another one of the separate agenda items. And we're targeting a July construction start for that project. Church Point at Roddy, the roundabout project there, design contract has been issued and work is underway. On the 2011 maintenance project, we're still finalizing some punch list items and hoping to get that wrapped up pretty soon here. On the 2012 maintenance project, plans are still being drafted and the drainages continue to be analyzed. Pavement preservation program, we have another agenda item on this, but the cartograph pavement view module implementation is ongoing. We got the software up and running. We got it talking to our GIS system, so we're making some headway on that. Highway 42 sewer improvements, we are preparing for the lift station acquisitions in order to assist DOTD with that project. On state projects, we have 61 overlay from 22 to 74. That's underway. The anticipated completion is winter of 2012. 431 roundabout, that's been underway for a while. They're anticipating completion in the fall of 2012. 431 intersection improvements, the anticipated letting date is this month. 42 widening project, the right-of-way acquisitions are underway. House Bill 2 passed last week with construction funding, and that bill's awaiting the governor's signature, so hopefully that'll be moving forward. For 73 widening from I-10 to Airline Highway, the utility relocations are still ongoing. Sewer redesign plans have been finalized and approved, and still targeting a completion in fall of 2013 for that project. 431 Gold Place turn lane, we're still awaiting DOTD advertisements for design services. I talked to the project manager on that today, and she said it's sitting on the chief engineer's desk at DOTD, so hopefully that'll break free soon. I-10 cable barrier construction in Ascension has begun. They're anticipating completion of that in August of 2012. 22 from 44 to 942. This project is a patch and overlay with some drainage improvements. They're anticipating to start in August of 2012. And the 61 access management at LA 42 is anticipating a start of construction in June or July of this year. Any questions?
Councilman Lambert?
Yeah, House Bill 2 on 42, that's complete construction of the project?
That's complete.
Total money?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's
Good.
29.7 million.
good news
Good.
and bad news, but good news.
What's bad about it?
Well, we had to put up our $5 million for sewer.
Oh, it's 5 now?
Yes,
I thought it was less than that.
it went from 4 to 5.
Yeah, the upper end of the estimate is 5. The parish is in an agreement with the DOTD to pay
And that
for-
funds come from where?
Coming from your road.
Okay.
Councilman Law?
I still think it's good by far overall. And I want to thank President Martinez. I know you've been lobbying for us for probably 15 years now, and we've been trying to do everything we can. I think the fact that we have 29.7 million finally awaiting the governor's signature right there is just a momentous step, and I certainly appreciate all the efforts. And I also had a question for Ben on the cable barrier. I saw in Sorrento that they're working on it there. Is it going to extend all the way through the parish, through Perryville and everything else?
I don't believe so, and I forget where the termination is. I'll have to get back to you on where exactly.
'Cause I know it wasn't probably a year or two ago, a couple years ago, where somebody actually crossed the interstate right there near 73, I think it was, between Highland and 73. There's a big stretch there. If we don't have it there, I think that would be. I mean, why not? Just is it a funding issue? Is it a grant thing, or?
I'll find out more and
Okay.
get back to you.
And it may be that's going to be the next
Next phase or something?
section of widening. And I would think that has a lot to do with it, whether you have to tear it down, put it in and tear it down. I may be wrong, but and that's basically what I'm thinking.
Okay.
That's why it's not in there.
Any other discussion on the project status? If not, we'll move on to number 6, cooperative endeavor agreement with the City of Gonzales for Roddy Road improvements. Ben?
Yeah, and as I stated briefly before, this is an agreement with the city for them to cover a portion of the cost of the Roddy improvements. We left their water line in place, and there's some construction impacts that burden the parish with, and they've agreed to pay for those costs.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert.
Second.
Second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Discussion? No objection? Motion passed. Move on to number 7, resolution to accept a low bid from R.J. Daigle and Son Contractors. Ben?
Yeah, asking for your approval of the low bid from R.J. Daigle and Sons. It was $1,786,306.54.
So moved, Mr.
Second.
Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert, second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Any other discussion? None, motion passed. Number 8, Ascension Parish Master Street Plan. Ben?
Included in your package was a map. We've got a big one over here. It's best viewed on a computer. It's intended to be kind of a web-based map, but we did our best to kind of make it a little bit readable. And 11 by 17s were in your packet, which I know some of the road names are hard to read. So here's the map, which is a little hard to see. But what we've done, and I've been working with the planning department on this, is we've gone through and tried to create the master street plan. That it's referenced in our code. It's something that is needed. I guess it's the basis for any sort of controls on how we're going to develop access to these roads. And so the idea is to kind of establish what the purpose of some of our main corridors are, what their function is. And so there's 3 classes, really. There's arterials, there's collectors, and there's local roads. Arterials are our main highways. They connect to either the interstate or airline highway. Collector roads are the roads that go from, one highway to another, or, or cut-through roads that go, take you from 431 to 44, or something of that nature. And then the local roads are kind of the smaller roads that kind of lead to the subdivisions and some of our smaller commercial corridors. Then within there are subclassifications of urban, suburban, and rural. And those designations mainly, I guess the largest element of what each one of those means is that in our urban areas, there's closed storm drainage, just like they're designed on 42. It's a subsurface drainage system. It's part of kind of that complete street design. And then in the more rural areas, it's an open ditch drainage serving those areas. The suburban's kind of the transition zones for some of those things. So we've started developing kind of a visual section, and I'll put this up here. To kind of indicate what each one of these are, and ultimately we'll develop a section that meets each one of these classifications. And this is coming straight out of the AASHTO standards. And really this meeting, I guess I wanted to introduce the idea to you and start the conversation about it. In the future, if the parish does move towards any sort of development impact fees or more stringent transportation impact study requirements, that this is the basis for making those decisions. And will allow us to kind of see where the transportation is headed, what direction we want to take, and kind of establish the network for the future. Any questions?
Okay, we're looking at 80-foot right-of-way here?
Each section will have an associated right-of-way width, and a lot of this, lends itself to corridor preservation and other elements of just kind of transportation planning. But it's kind of that ground-level foundation for all of those decisions.
Councilman Lowell?
Ben, how were the classifications determined based on traffic counts and?
There's a lot of elements to
Sure.
it, but average daily traffic is one of the criteria. Design speed is another one. And then, like I said earlier, one of the big ones is, what does it serve as? 621 connects 431 to 44 to airline to the interstate. It's kind of a major through route. So each one of these classifications has a kind of a functional purpose, and we tried to match those up. DOTD has a map for the parish, and they use the same classification system. They have a slightly different nomenclature for them. So we went to the AASHTO standard, which we have this big green book that is kind of the Bible of transportation design, I guess, and we reference straight out of those sections. And this lends itself, I guess, into the future, also for the complete streets policy, because federal dollars are restricted to meeting complete street standards, and so these sections are kind of designed with the ability to build out those complete street sections.
I guess the only one that sticks out at me a little bit is 73 between airline and the interstate not being an arterial.
Right, and it's currently classified as DOTD is building it. And that's certainly part of the conversation. And as you look at the map, you kind of see some of those things that stick out. And so, maybe that's one of the ones we need to change. And that's kind of what we wanted to get this out there and start the conversation to have people, see if we're on the right track for what the parish envisions for its road network. Another change we were discussing today is airline. Probably, it's probably a beefier section than 42, 431, and those sorts of roads. So we started talking about creating another classification, and we don't have an urban arterial 1 in there. All the red lines are our urban arterial 2, which is kind of a 4-lane divided section, kind of like what 42 is designed as now, to be built. So.
Well, appreciate the information. Past President, you had anything on?
No, I think it's a good start and a beginning to looking at your master transportation plan overall, and if you have these type systems in place, it makes it a lot easier to work with. And when you go for federal funding, if you have a map like this and showing all this, it certainly helps. And I want to thank Ben for putting this together. I think it's far-reaching and forward-thinking. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Lambert?
Yeah, Ben, on the, I know we're talking about the master plan. On the half-cent sales tax, did we come up with the proposition yet on the 20%? Has that been put out yet for us to review?
That resolution is still being drafted, my
Okay.
understanding, and it should be out.
If we can get it as soon as possible, so we can.
I think
go
it-
over it.
Supposed to be tied, we told them to have it to you a week before, at least, about, I think the 14th, they're supposed to have it.
Okay.
Right. Come on up, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim Brown with Government Consultants. We've got a meeting, in fact, that was Malcolm called me when I stepped out, meeting with Malcolm tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Going to try to get it
Work
wrapped
that
up
in.
tomorrow afternoon. Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
You had anything else on that, Ben?
Nope.
All right, we'll move on to the next item. That's road maintenance funding report. Ben?
Okay, we got a little presentation, I guess I put together for this. Pull that up. And really, maintenance, pavement preservation, same thing. So it's kind of the title of the presentation there. Our current maintenance funding is through a existing half-cent sales tax. 2/3 of that is dedicated to road maintenance and improvements. Currently, that generates approximately $8 million a year. 2/3 is about $5.2 million. 1.5 million of that is currently dedicated to debt service on a prior bond, which will be paid off in 2016. So that 1.5 million will roll back into the maintenance program at that point. To give you an idea of what our maintenance costs are, the total reconstruction of a road costs approximately $300,000 per mile. This is when a road gets to the point where we've got to go in there, the base is deteriorated, where just the surface maintenance isn't going to do the job. Mill and overlay is running typically about $150,000 per mile. You can contrast that with a crack sealing, which is $3,000 per mile. Another one I don't have on there is chip sealing, which is roughly a $30,000 per mile cost. So there's an order of magnitude difference. The chip sealing, crack sealing are preventative maintenance things that don't do what these others do. The others are major and minor rehabilitation. The preventative maintenance is something that has to occur more frequently, but as you can see, it's orders of magnitude cheaper and extends the life of the road. So this quote from the pavement preservation, for pavement preservation is from FHWA. Pavement preservation is a program employing a network-level long-term strategy that enhances pavement performance by using an integrated, cost-effective set of practices that extend pavement life, improve safety, and meet motorist expectations. Takeaway from that is it's a program on a network level, so it's looking at the entire system of roads that we have, and it's a long-term strategy. And that's what we're working towards employing here in Ascension Parish. Quick, touching on pavement preservation again, the three, I guess, main elements of it are preventative maintenance, which is the crack sealing, chip sealing aspects. There's routine maintenance, which is, here we go, I have them listed, pothole repair, drainage maintenance, cleaning out the ditches, keeping that water from seeping into the base, striping, those sorts of things. And then minor rehabilitation, mill and overlay, sectional patching. Eventually, you do have to do some of those more intensive treatments, but the preventative maintenance and routine maintenance are intended to stave those off, and those are aspects of our program that we need to beef up. Here's a graph, and let me jump over here, that shows kind of a typical surface degradation, the life cycle of a road. And they start off in excellent condition. That's the orange line is the condition. So on the left hand side there, you can see that our road starts off great. As it progresses, it degrades, and then at a point, typically about 15 to 20 years out, there's a steep downward trend in the quality of that road. And so what preventative maintenance does, and you can see the little graph popping off the top of the orange line, is you improve the quality of that road and you keep it in the better condition. Once the road starts deteriorating, you get cracks, you get seepage into the base, and the base deteriorates, and that's when you start getting into the more significant cost repairs that we're hoping to avoid by employing, crack sealing, chip sealing, and the appropriate treatment. The preservation strategy would target a certain quality road. We would say our target is an 80 for our roads on a 0 to 100 scale. And, the sliding scale would be based on ratings of all the roads. Every road in our network is part of our road maintenance program, and every one of them will need maintenance at some point or other. By instituting the cartograph asset management program that we have to help track all of these roads, we input their condition, and then we project out their degradation curve over time, and then we know in advance when we need to do certain types of maintenance, and we can target the type of maintenance that's going to be most effective at the time that that particular road is in its life cycle. So that's kind of the overview of our current maintenance program. Next month, I'm going to bring some more of the financial elements of it and kind of indicate how we can start saving money and some of the benefits that we will hopefully start receiving.
Great. Mr. Lambert?
Yeah, being on a sectional patching, what I've experienced in sectional patching just doesn't work. Church Point, where DPW is a fine example. We did a sectional patching on that road, several years back, and in several areas it'll throw you off the road if you're not careful because it's got big dips in it. The road's cracking and it's dropping off,
Right.
So we got to be careful on the sectional patching because I'll find everywhere we do it is not holding up.
Right. And that list of...
We don't have a good enough foundation for sectional patching because it gives.
Right.
The section gives.
We need to determine which treatments are effective and what we want to pursue. That
Right.
was the list that DOTD qualifies as
Right.
preventative maintenance. But I've seen examples of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And we'll certainly take that into consideration as
Right.
we kind of develop our program.
Thank you.
Everybody's good. Appreciate you, Ben, bringing it forward. And we'll collect on this data. We'll move on to number 10, the pavement management data collecting services. Ben?
Yeah, this is a RFQ that we would like to put out to actually do the assessment of the roads. These guys come in, they have a van that drives the roads. It rates the roads based on the number of cracks, the ride quality, and they have a number of technical elements that they analyze it, and it takes the subjectivity out of any of our ratings. So basically, we'd have a robot go through every road in the parish and figure out where they are in the hierarchy of needing repairs, and it would help us target what type of repair we need to implement.
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councilman Lohr,
I second it for discussion.
second by Councilman Todd Lambert. Discussion, go ahead.
Is there a cost to this somewhere?
Preliminary estimates for doing the entire parish is on the order of $300,000. This is something that we would do every 3 or 4 years to kind of recalibrate our system, so it's not an annual cost, but it is something that has to be redone periodically. I think it will prove to be very cost-effective in the long run because it'll allow us to target our preventative maintenance efforts much more clososely. And I should add that $300,000 is with us also getting geocoding on all of our signs. So there's another element to it where we could have all of our signs, which have to be on a certain maintenance rotation per federal requirements in our cartograph system, so we could kind of schedule whatever treatments of those needed.
Cool.
And this is some of the ones we see on the state roads, Ben, same surveying.
That's something that we'd have to determine, once we get the bids in. But I don't see at this point that we would leave them out. It's kind of an overall assessment, and it's. I don't think there'll be a significant cost difference for the extra mileage of the state roads versus just doing the local parish maintained roads.
Every so often, the state does this.
Yeah.
They have the same type of program.
Well, we need a starting point, so this is most probably where we'll get it. Any other discussion on this item? Not? Motion will pass. Number 11, a cartograph pavement view implementation. contract, Ben?
And we have a proposal included in your package from Cartograph. This is the back end of what we just talked about, taking that data and doing something with it. Cartograph, we already own the software. The implementation of it is a bit involved, getting it set up, but once we have it established and running, then it's been proven very beneficial to other places. And I've talked to Bexar County, Texas. That's where San Antonio is. They use this. Cobb County, Georgia, is Atlanta. They're using this. I talked to some guys in Golden, Colorado that have also used it. They love it. You know, it allows them to kind of keep an eye on the entire system and know where they need to target their maintenance dollars.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Moved by Councilman Todd Lambert,
Second.
second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Any discussion? None, motion passed. Move on to number 12, recommendation of subdivision roads accepted, denial into the parish maintenance system. Is Ricky here, or?
Ricky's not here. I'll address this.
Go ahead, Ben.
We're in the process with them. We've met with the developer, we've met with the contractor and the developer's engineer, and we're in the process. There are some things that the contractor has agreed to go do. They haven't started that. We've noticed them in regards to the bond, so that has kind of been put on hold. So our recommendation for now is denial while we allow this process to unfold and hopefully get the repairs that we need done without having to actually sue the bond. So.
Okay, and I have one speaker, Mr. Derek Murphy.
I want to just reiterate anything that Ben needed me to talk on, but I think we're good.
Make that motion.
Motion by Councilman Todd Lambert for denial,
Second.
second by Councilman Chris Lohr. Discussion?
Yeah, Ben, is this the roads that came to us once before that we,
That was the second
different
filing.
set.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is the
this
third
is a new
filing.
file,
So similar issues.
similar issues? Okay.
Any further discussion? None, motion passed. Number 13,
Motion adjourned, Mr.
moved
Chairman.
by Councilman Todd Lambert to
Second.
adjourn, second by Councilman Chris Lohr. We adjourn.